awesome is that, guys? I mean, these are gonna make some beautiful guitars. Hey guys, appreciate you stopping by. I wanted to take a minute today to talk about milling rough lumber in the shop. I feel like it's something that gets left out in a lot of the educational material. I even have some books inside that have plans in them, and it seems like they always just start with a dimensional board, as if you can go out and buy something that is, dimensioned perfectly and ready to cut dovetails into. So what I'm going to be making, I recently picked up a quarter sawn Wingate board, 10 foot long, 4 inches wide, and I also had some Bolivian rosewood that's been sitting on my shelf for a little over a year. I figured now is the time. If I'm going to mill up all this Wingate, then I might as well do that too. So we're going to make some bridge blanks, fretboard blanks, and we're just going to saw up a whole bunch of headstock veneers. And that should give me material for the next couple of years. So stick around and we'll get to it. So let's talk a little bit about the milling process before we go too far. When you go out and buy lumber, it's going to come in a few different ways. This would be a rough sawn board that you'll find at a local lumber yard. It's going to be fresh off of a bandsaw, and probably a dull bandsaw that was moving way too fast. The ends may be painted. There can be cracks and checks, splits that'll be cupped and bowed. It's rough. That's one way you'll get it. Another way would be it may be planed, straight line ripped, planed on 2 sides, surfaced on 3 sides, or S4S, and that'll look a little more like this. They're just telling you like how many sides they surfaced. So you might get it planed, and it might just only be planed on one side. S3S is a really popular one where they plane this side, they straight line rip here, and then they plane this side parallel to the other. And they leave this side alone because they're assuming you're going to rip the board to width. But that's another way you'll find it at your local lumber yards. Also, Home Depot, if you go buy hardwood boards, you'll see S4S stuff there as well. And lastly, wood is wood. You may have a tree fall in your backyard and end up with a billet like this. This is quarter sawn American elm that I harvested at work. We were taking the tree down, so I just sawed out a little quarter, and I've been air drying it for a couple years. There's bark, there's bug holes, splits and checks, there's some nails in there, and it's chainsaw milled, so it's very rough. There's really not much nice about it except that it was free. But regardless of where your wood came from or what treatment it received before you bought it, there's still a certain amount of work that needs to be done in the shop to get the board flat and square on all 6 sides and remove anything that isn't usable before getting into actually doing the work. And the reason is that every time we cut on a board, we're releasing moisture and tension within the board. Even kiln dried stuff retains more moisture in the middle fibers than it will anywhere near any of these edges. So if we go and cut a board down the middle, we're exposing tissues to air that have just never seen open air before. And every time we make a cut, even heavy sanding, the board's going to react to that. It'll cup, it'll twist, it'll bow, It can split, check, crack, all sorts of things. So what that means is it doesn't really matter what services were done to your board. When I cut this out of the tree, it reacted to that. There's some checking going on down here. I'm sure it's twisted and cupped from whatever it was before I got to it. It's hard to tell because it's so rough, but the point is that I cut that board and it reacted the same way that a rough sawn board is going to react. There's some checking, there's split edges, there's all sorts of stuff. There's burning from the dull blade, and it's the same story for the S4S stuff. I know this looks nice, and if you were just trying to replace a piece of molding, you could probably run a round over on this, stick it on the wall, nail it there, and paint it, and you would never know the difference. But if you're trying to break this down into drawer parts, cut dovetails, and stick this in a hardwood cabinet, you would have a lot of problems, because while this is a pretty board and it's S4S and I paid more for it, it's not flat, it's not square, it's bowed, and I'm sure it's twisted. So that's the idea. That's why the milling process is so important. The reason I think it gets looked over a lot with a lot of, YouTubers and educational materials is just because it's really boring. It's literally, we're just making a lot of rectangles, and you really have to do it more than once. That's the worst part, because if we remove material and the board moves, that means that when we go to mill apart and we get this board flat and square on all 6 sides, guess what? It's going to move. The good thing is that the closer we get to our part, we're going to be removing less and less, and as we remove tension from the board, it should minimize the amount of movement, but it's still going to be there. This is from another furniture project. I milled this perfectly flat and square before cutting the part off of it, and it's twisted. So that's the idea. I want to take you guys along and just show you my process. It's really exciting. I think I'm going to get quite a few parts, maybe even enough for, I'm not really sure how much it is. It's at least 20 guitars. So let's get into that. All right, now we pick up some wood, we come home. We're excited. We found some pristine quarter sawn wingay, and we're inspired to finally cut the rosewood that's been sitting on the shelf for 1.5 years. And the most important thing right now is to understand that, this wood, even though who knows when it was sawn to the state that it's in, it needs to acclimate to your shop. It needs time to equalize to the humidity level in your environment, because it is different. And the most important thing right now is to bring these boards into your shop and leave them there as long as you can without touching them. Take that time to really plan out and be reasonable about what you can accomplish with these boards, and make a clear plan before ever making the first cut. Once we get there, the first thing, I have a 10-foot board and I have 2 7-foot boards, and my shop is tiny. So the easiest thing is to get out and break these boards down, just cross-cutting them roughly to length. And this is oversized, of course, just like anything else. We're making sure we have enough room for everything. We're observing the boards as we're doing that. That could give us information that we need to change our plan. But we're just cross-cutting roughly to length, and I'm adding about 1 inch to 1.5 inches to every part. That's all we'll do. Stack these up just like that and let them be for a couple days. We may get some splitting, checking in the end grain. Not much we can do about that. except cut our blanks a little bit oversized, monitor it, and if something checks really bad, then we know that there was a lot of moisture in that piece or just some tension that probably would have made for a defective part anyway. So that's it. We'll leave it for now, and then we'll come back in a couple days. All right, so once we got our cross cuts done, we got our rough oversized length cut, and we're going to try to get 2 fretboards out of this side, and on this half we'll get 6 bridges. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to find the grain direction, and you can kind of, especially with Wingay, you can feel the splinters. So I can tell that the grain is running this way, and I want my knives to cut. Because this is a straight knife joiner, it struggles a little bit with hardwood like this. So I want my knives to cut with that grain so that it's not getting under it and lifting it up and tearing it out. So we'll come through with the grain and we'll get this face here perfectly flat. So the next step is to find out, I want to place my flat edge against the fence and flatten one of these edges square in relation to this new one. So I'm doing the same thing. I'm looking for the grain direction carefully because this is Wingay, and I can feel the splinters are facing that way. So I want my knives to cut from behind those splinters where they're not trying to lift them up. And you can sort of see it in the board. The grain is coming slightly down, the run out slightly down this way. So I want my knives to come up into that and compress it, which will give me a much better result. And before I even do this, I'm going to check my fence for square again. It's pretty damn square. All right, let's do that. So we did this side, then we did this side. Now we're going to run this face through the drum sander, which is going to flatten this face parallel to the reference face that's down on this mat. So that will give me 1, 2, 3 faces that are flat, square, and parallel. All right. we're going to be getting, with the thickness, we're going to be getting 2 fretboards and 2 bridges stacked on top of each other. So what we're going to do now, just so that I don't have to resaw, 50 pieces of wood, I'm going to go ahead and cut this board down its length this way now, and then I can I can rip my fretboard blanks off of my bridge blanks. For the wingay, the rosewood is not wide enough to get any more than a fretboard blank, so I'll just resaw this in half so that I have 2 fretboard blanks from each board. And that'll go the same for the bridge blanks. These bridge blanks are going to be really oversized. It is nice to have an oversized bridge blank, because like a piece like this that is sort of lighter in color on one side and darker on the other gives me the freedom later on when I'm choosing that grain to say like lighter or darker on this particular instrument will look better, so I can position that bridge on the blank wherever looks best for the project I'm using it on. So they will be oversized, but whenever the time comes to remove the excess, it just goes up here. I keep everything, so you never know when I'm going to need a little knob or something, and I keep all that stuff up there. So that's what we're going to do now. We're going to go ahead and resaw all these parts to get them closer to their final thickness. Again, they're still going to be oversized because later on, when it comes time to actually use these parts, I want to be able to mill them again so that they are flat and true and ready to be turned into guitar parts. All right, so we're going to do that now. I was actually pretty worried about the resawing portion of this project. My bandsaw blade isn't exactly new, and I thought for sure the wingay would dull it pretty fast, but it really handled it well, and I couldn't be happier. So this is the last portion of this milling session, and this is what it looks like. I was able to get 17 wingay headstock veneers, 17 rosewood headstock veneers, 8 rosewood fretboard blanks, 10 wingay fretboard blanks, 15 wingay bridge blanks, and there's 8 rosewood bridge blanks that I can actually get 2 bridges from each blank. But that's going to be it for this milling session. We went through once and we cross-cut everything oversized and surfaced the pieces, got them flat and square, and then we let them rest for a couple days. After that, we came back and got them to where you see them now. We reflattened everything. We did our resawing to thickness, oversized, and this concludes the second milling session. These parts will go up on the shelf and they'll rest until they're actually going to be used on a project. Some of them might be months, some of them might be years, but They'll be well rested when it comes to use them, and then we'll repeat this whole process again, but there's less material to move because these are so much closer to their final dimensions, which means hopefully there's less movement, if any, when it comes time to actually do that. You can see like this blank is pretty close to where it needs to be. There's a lot of thickness, but we'll take that down slowly as well. All right, that's it for today. So if you're still here, I just want to thank you for watching. You know, I had a lot of fun getting this together. I'm really excited to have all these parts for future projects. If this was helpful to you, I hope you'll consider subscribing, maybe liking the video. All that stuff helps because this is a new YouTube channel. But I am feeling pretty excited to be able to share my journey in becoming a luthier with you guys. I feel like it's helpful to me as well filming this stuff because I can see all the mistakes I make and go back, and it helps me kind of refine my process a little bit. So until next time, take care. Thanks.